In this video, we will be going through a step-by-step guide on how you can get your permanent residency in Canada, whether you are inside or outside does not matter, using the province of Alberta. Now for those who have done even a bit of research might already know that there are total 8 different streams which can lead you to Canadian PR. And the only way to apply to these streams is through the brand new expression of interest portal launched by the province in 2024. And you know what? Filling it out correctly might also almost guarantee your PR. So in this video, we will tackle 3 things. A brief information about the 8 available streams and who might be eligible, discussing the points system of Alberta's EOI application, and filling the EOI without making any mistakes. Make sure to watch it till the end if you are really interested in trying this opportunity, because by the end, you will have everything you need to confidently complete the Alberta's expression of interest application. So let's get started. First, let's take a look at the streams which are eligible. Here we have the Alberta Opportunities stream. Mostly for people in Alberta goes through this stream. Second is the Alberta Express Entry stream. This includes everyone who has Express Entry profile and going through the Alberta PNP. And again, I'm emphasizing this that it is for people both inside and outside Canada. Now, Express Entry stream has some dedicated pathways like dedicated healthcare pathway with both Express Entry and non-Express Entry options, which include special options for people in the healthcare sector, law enforcement pathway for people in the related occupation, and accelerated tech pathway for people in the tech and related occupation, and rural renewal stream, which also includes economic mobility pathway pilot program, but basically for anyone doing a job outside Calgary and Edmonton might be eligible for this program. Lastly, we have the tourism and hospitality stream. It is tied with the LMIA based job or LMIA exempted due to the wildfires in Alberta, as you know. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm not going in detail of how each of these streams work, but if you are interested to learn, you can always check out my video here. Now remember that as of September 30, 2024, you must be invited to apply for any of these programs, and you must create an EOI to be entered into a pool of eligible candidates. And if you are selected from the pool, you will receive an email with a unique application link, and you will have to follow that instructions in the invitation email to file your PNP. Now let's take a look at the eligibility criteria and points allocated to the expression of interest system, and then later we'll show you how to file the expression of interest application itself. Alberta's EOI point grid system looks through 2 different factors to measure your eligibility for the program. The first one is the human capital factor, which includes education, language, work, experience, age, and family connections in Alberta. And second is the economic factors, which includes Alberta job offer and the location of the job offer itself. The human capital factors can give you a maximum of 69 points, and economic factors would give you a maximum of 31 points, totaling to about 100 point scaling system. Now let's dive deeper into the human capital factors. First one here is the education. Here you can get points based on highest education and the location of the highest education itself. Here you see that the highest education in the Alberta gives you more points even if it's diploma versus bachelor's from outside Canada. So for the people wondering, no, if your highest level of education is from outside Canada, you must have to get an ECA and use that for calculation, or else they will not consider your application. You cannot use your diploma and show that it's done in Alberta and claim the points for that. Links to all the sources and information is in the description for anyone who is wondering. Second is the language proficiency, for which you can claim a maximum of 13 points. Next is the work experience already gained inside or outside Canada, and you can get maximum points of experience for 12 or more months of work experience inside or outside Canada. You get more points if the experience is in another provinces, and even more points if it's in Alberta. Next is the age. You get a points here even if you are 50 plus years old, so which is great. Next is family connection. Not a blood relative, but even if it's uncle, aunt, sibling, connection counts. Now let's take a look at the economic factors. If you have a permanent full-time job offer in either rural area or in the tourism and hospitality sector, or even if it's in the law and enforcement sector, you get additional 6 points. And usually if you have a job offer location outside Edmonton and Calgary, you get additional 5 points. And finally, if your job is in regulated profession, I'll put the link in the description for more details for this, but you get additional 10 points for it. Now the goal here is simple: to score the maximum points you can, be competitive in the pool and get invited. For instance, anywhere above 50 points has a decent chance of invitation, and of course it shifts as per the saturation in the pool for any particular stream. Now let's go through a step-by-step instruction on how to actually fill out the expression of interest application. The link to the page is in the description, so please open that up quickly. We'll click on get started here and it will open a new page for us. Please create the account to begin. You can use Google login to be quick. I have already created the account, so let's begin. As you can see on this page that you can create an expression of interest for entrepreneurs, you can create expression of interest for workers, you can even check your existing applications. For now, I'll click on create new expression of interest for workers, so we can go through this. As you can see, it's a single page application, so it won't take much time, but of course it can be confusing. So I will try my best to go through each section in detail. Make sure to read the eligibility before you start, and then we'll click on I have read the information. What's your interested pathway? As I told you before in this video that there are multiple pathways from which you can choose. You can definitely create multiple expression of interest depending on the pathways you are interested in. For now, I'll just select Alberta Opportunity Stream for reference. Do you have a valid work permit issued by IRCC? If you do have, even if it's an open work permit or a closed work permit, yes, if you are working and have a valid work permit, say yes. It will ask you what kind of work permit you have. As you can see, international experience, Canada, work permits with LMIAs, post-graduation work permit, Ukraine, open work permit. So there are these open work permits which are available and you can use that. If you have a spouse open work permit, as you can see, there are no option. You can always use other. Okay, so I'll select PGWP here for reference, and you can select the expiry date of your work permit. So for reference, I'll just select a random date here. This question next is of course just to check if you are currently in the express entry pool or not. If you are, you can say yes and provide more information about your current express entry profile number, because as I told you that the government of Alberta or the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program is no longer doing the stuffs outside expression of interest. So you will have to create this profile first, even if you want to get an express entry based invites. Okay, so with this you are telling them essentially that yes, I do have an express entry profile, so that they can send you the notification of interest. If you do not have it, just say no. It's really not going to make much difference, but saying yes will also allow you or make you eligible for certain opportunities. Depends on the pathways as well. As I told you that this is a generic form and it's fine if you have it or not, but ideally I would suggest that if you have enough experience and are eligible for creating express entry profile, you should create it. And if you want to know how to create it, then please check out my video somewhere here. I have provided a step-by-step approach on how to create your express entry profile effectively. All right, so for now I'll just say no. Highest education completed. So this highest education part is not just for in Canada. If you're already in Canada, for international graduates and graduates in Canada, you have to choose the highest education you have. So if it's a diploma, bachelor's, master's degree, if it's a postgraduate diploma, here as you can see, for most people it might be bachelor's, but if you have a postgraduate diploma, you can totally select diploma, but make sure that to get admitted in that particular diploma program, having a bachelor's degree was must and it was a requirement. If it was not a requirement to enter, then it was probably not a postgraduate diploma, and then you won't be able to claim that points. So make sure to avoid any misrepresentation. You select the right degree, which is the highest degree. For simplicity, I'm just selecting bachelor's, but let's say if you have a diploma or postgraduate diploma, you can do that as well, and where you completed, right? Let's say if I have completed in Alberta, then I'll select Alberta. Let's say if I completed this in any other province like British Columbia, I would select completed in other province but not Alberta. If I studied this outside Canada, then I pretty much have to select nothing here. And if it's outside Canada, of course I need to go with an ECA. So if it's inside Canada, I can just straight away select no and get done with it. But if it's outside Canada, it is a must requirement that you should have an ECA done before you create this expression of interest profile. All right. So I'll just say yes, and then that's it for education section. Next is the language proficiency. If I have a language proficiency, this is asking what CLB do I have. Anything higher than 6, which is pretty much in IELTS, it's like 5.5 bands up to 6 bands. It's enough. If it's more than that, really does not matter. Same with the French as well. If you have both, it gives you additional points as we discussed. But if you do not have it, just select no language test or assessment completed. And the work experience, as I told you already, any work experience gained more than 12 months really takes you to the highest points. If you do not have that, select accordingly. I'll just select 12 or more here. And now the next question is, if you have a 6 or more months of experience in Alberta, and if you have a 6 or more months of experience in any other provinces that is not in Alberta, both can be selected here in this case. But if you have one of these, that's fine. For the reference, I'm just selecting I have a 6 or more months of experience in Alberta, assuming that the overall experience I have, at least 6 months I have lived in Alberta. And what's my age? So I'm selecting whatever is appropriate. And if I have a family member in Alberta who is a parent, a grandparent, a child, grandchild, sibling, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, but as you can see, no cousins, right? No cousins. Do not include family connections of your in-laws as well. They do not count as well. But if you have family in Alberta, you'll have to say yes, you have a family in Alberta. That gives you additional points, but then of course you'll have to prove it when you are getting invited. Similarly, if you have a full-time job opportunity in Alberta, then you'll have to select yes. Let's say I have it. Then the next question would immediately be if you have an endorsement letter from the designated community, because if you're applying for rural renewal stream, you might need that. If you have it, great. If your job is in tourism and hospitality sector, then employee needs to be a member of association, and then you can select this as well. And again, if you have a job offer in law enforcement, each of these checkboxes gives you additional points, so choose accordingly. If you do not have anything, that's fine. Most of the people might not have it, so that's completely all right. Then you have to select your NOC code. Just for the reference, I have selected something which might be the most common thing. Now here, if you do not know how to find out the right NOC code for your job, either you can ask your employer, match the duties with the NOC codes. I have created an entire video on how to identify or find the right or best matching NOC code for your job, whether you are in Canada or outside Canada, anywhere in the world. You can check out the video somewhere up there, and it's also in the description. The next thing is NAICS code of the Alberta employer. As you can see, any employer or any companies in North America gets NAICS code, so your employer must have it. Ask them what is their NAICS code, what they are using for their primary business. Okay, and they will give you the NAICS code. You can use it. If your employer needs further reference, the link is provided here as well, so you can use that to find out the NAICS code for your job. The next is the location of the job offer as well. As I told you before, that not only the job offer in Alberta, but the location within Alberta also matters. So here they want to know where your job is located, whether it's in Calgary metropolitan area, whether it's in Edmonton metropolitan area, or if it's outside in a designated rural community or any other Alberta community, because designated rural community essentially gives you more points, which is great. If you are in Calgary or Edmonton, you pretty much do not get points, so it is bad. Of course, they want to have people outside these metropolitan saturated regions, and that's why they are checking who's doing job and where they are doing the job, right? So let's say, for the sake of simplicity, I'm working in Calgary. So if your job offer is in a regulated occupation, you might need to meet these requirements by the professional regulated bodies in Alberta. And if you have done that, then you can check this box. It gives you additional points. If you have not done that, that's completely all right. But of course, you will not be eligible. If your occupation does not need to be regulated, then it's completely fine. Just do not check this box and you're good. And finally, it's the employment declaration. So I'll click on this. It'll automatically fill up my name and the date I signed it. And again, I'll check this one for the authorization of personal information. If I've used any representative, then I'll have to provide that, but here I have not. And again, it's asking me a question if I have paid anyone to assist me in this application. Of course, I am providing you assistance, but there you go, just say no. Okay, and we'll finally check this box and we'll click on submit. As you can see, they're specifically saying you can only have one active worker expression of interest. If you need to make any updates in this worker expression of interest, you have to cancel the existing expression of interest before submitting a new one. So they do not want you to overwhelm them with multiple applications. So again, make sure to choose the right pathway for which you want to apply. If you have questions, confusion, and want to just toss around the idea, discuss it with me, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to give you my 2 cents on it. Okay. And now your profile is in the expression of interest pool for Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. As you can see, the points awarded to me is 61, which is not bad, which is great. As I told you before, that more than 50 is good enough at this point in time, and it changes depending on what the saturation looks like for particular pathway. But this is it. You can check your application, you can update your application whenever you need to by canceling the application and recreating the expression of interest again. And just last clerical things, the expression of interest is valid till 1 year before it gets expired, and then you'll have to recreate once again. But I hope that you get invited before it completes. So all the best with your PNP journey. I hope that this video is helping you out. Now, if you want to get some more information about the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program and want to understand some of the common questions and its answers, I have discussed them in this video. So please take a look at it if you are interested, and I'll catch you in the next one.